For the first time, we saw the real Will Smith. Not a Fresh Prince, not a survivor of a zombie apocalypse in I Am Legend, not a crime-fighting cop in the movie Bad Boys, or a Hancock superhero. Anyways, I think overall during the last 3 years, it's safe to say that we as a society are learning that there is a very dark element to psychological methods. That seems to be the name of the game. Psychiatric care, psychology, coupled with the mainstream media.
They say every Hollywood star pays a price for fame. But what if that price is your soul? Candace Owens is saying Will Smith didn't just lose control of his life. He was offered up in one of the darkest humiliation rituals the industry has ever seen. Will traveled to Peru for secret spiritual ceremonies, performed strange purification rituals in India, and then the world watched him snap at the Oscars. Now, Candace Owens claims none of it was random, it was all connected. According to her, every breakdown, every public humiliation was part of a bigger plan, a transformation ritual designed to destroy the man we once knew and rebuild him into someone Hollywood could control. So here's where things really start to get strange. A while back, Will Smith opened up about his experiences with ayahuasca. That's a powerful plant medicine from South America that's supposed to give deep spiritual visions. He said he drank it 14 times during some of the darkest moments in his life, especially after his marriage with Jada started falling apart. Now, he didn't go to some Hollywood spa for this. Will actually flew to Peru to meet with a shaman, searching for answers, trying to heal. He described how the ayahuasca made him see things that completely changed how he viewed himself. In one vision, he said he was floating in space trillions of miles away from Earth, and he met what he called Mother. This unseen woman told him she'd never leave him, and that's when he said he felt true freedom for the first time in his life. He even said, "If I'm this beautiful, I don't need hit movies or records to feel worthy of love." And honestly, that's deep, but it's also where people started raising eyebrows, because that kind of talk, the visions, the detoxing from fame, it sounds less like a simple healing process and more like what folks online have been calling the initiation. In Hollywood circles, that's the point where a celebrity's identity starts getting stripped away piece by piece until they're rebuilt into something more controllable. And when you look at how Will described it, it kind of fits that mold. He said the process was all about letting go, no alcohol, no outside validation, just detoxing from everything that made him feel human. It's like he was being broken down to rebuild himself. And what came after only made that theory stronger, because after those journeys, things in his life didn't calm down. They got weirder. Now let's jump to that night everyone remembers, the Oscars. That moment when Will Smith walked on stage and slapped Chris Rock across the face in front of the whole world. At first, it just looked like a man defending his wife. But according to Candace Owens, what we really saw was something way deeper and way sadder. Candace said that when Chris first made that joke about Jada's shaved head, Will actually laughed. You could see it clear as day. He thought it was funny. But then he looked over, saw Jada's face, and everything changed. He went from smiling to snapping in just seconds.
When Chris Rock first makes the joke, Will laughs, meaning that he takes the joke as it was intended, lightly. But then he looks over and he sees that his wife does not find the joke funny, and he immediately goes from an amused attendee to a thug-life husband defending the honor of his wife's hair.
And that's what Candace said, exposing the truth that Will isn't in control anymore. He called him an incredibly broken man and a residual product of a directionless society that is filled with them.
The real Will Smith, an incredibly broken man and the residual product of a directionless society.
She said that slap wasn't just anger. It was the public breaking point of a man who's been spiritually annihilated. Her words, Will Smith has been spiritually annihilated by his wife.
The truth is that off the big screen, Will Smith has been spiritually annihilated by his wife.
According to her, Will is the example of what happens when a man loses his sense of self and starts living under the control of a domineering partner, or in this case, Hollywood itself. And if you think about it, it adds up. This is a man who's been humiliated publicly over and over again, from Jada's entanglement confession with her son's friend, August Alsina, to her interviews, where she basically said she didn't even want to marry him in the first place. Candace said the truth is, Jada didn't just embarrass Will, she destroyed him from the inside out. She made him sit there on her show in front of the whole world and listen as she admitted to cheating, and then made him agree that it was all okay.
You need to say clearly what happened.
As far as what?
You and I decided we were going to take our space, and what happened?
Yeah, and then I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said.
That, according to Candace, was the moment Hollywood saw that Will could be broken, that he would stay quiet no matter how publicly he was humiliated. And when you think about it, that's what humiliation rituals are said to be all about. Publicly tearing someone down to see how far they'll bend. So by the time that Oscar's slap happened, Candace believes it wasn't just a random reaction, it was the result of years of manipulation and spiritual collapse. And honestly, when she said that, the internet lit up. People started saying she was right, because it really did feel like we were watching a man who'd finally snapped after being pushed too far for too long. But here's the thing, even after all that, Jada went on to say that the slap actually saved their marriage. She said, "After all those years trying to figure out if I'd leave Will, it took that slap for me to realize I'll never leave him." And that's where people started getting chills, because it sounded less like love and more like control. After that whole Oscars fallout, Will kind of disappeared for a while. Everyone thought he was just taking time off to cool down. But what he actually did next made people start connecting even more dots. Because not long after, he flew all the way to India, quietly, no press, no red carpets, just Will and a few close people around him. He wasn't there for a movie shoot or some charity event. He went to Haridwar, one of the holiest cities in India, and met with a Vedic astrologer. Reports say he performed something called a Rudra Abhishek, a ritual meant to wash away negative energy and fix the bad effects of planet Saturn. And get this, before doing the ritual, he told the astrologer that he felt deeply connected to spirituality and wanted to understand how astrology worked. Now that might sound peaceful and innocent on the surface, but when you line it up with everything else that's been happening, the ayahuasca, the emotional breakdown, the public humiliation, it starts to look like he's in the middle of a spiritual storm he can't escape. The astrologer even said Will wanted to personally understand the meaning behind every mantra before the ritual started. That sounds like someone desperate to make sense of what's happening in his life. Someone trying to purify himself from something that's haunting him. And that's when people really started saying he wasn't just seeking peace, he was trying to undo something. Because by that time, Will wasn't just dealing with public embarrassment. He was banned from the Oscars for 10 years. His career had taken a hit. His image was shattered. And even though he apologized and said he accepted the Academy's punishment, fans couldn't shake the feeling that there was something symbolic about it all. In these rituals, people talk about the banishment is seen as part of the process, a way to strip someone of their power, make them repent publicly, and then rebuild them in a more obedient form. And the craziest part, Jada didn't seem affected by any of it. Jada went on promoting her book, giving interviews, posting online, while Will stayed silent. It's like she was the only one still thriving through all of his chaos. Then came the moment that made fans furious, her posting a sweet birthday tribute to Will like nothing ever happened. She uploaded a throwback photo of them smiling with the kids and wrote a heartfelt message, but fans weren't having it. They flooded her comments, reminding her of how she'd once said she cried on her wedding day. And honestly, you could feel the frustration from people. They were tired of watching Will being dragged through the mud while Jada kept playing it cool. It's almost like every time Will tries to stand up again, something comes along to humiliate him all over. Whether it's a resurfaced clip, a headline, or a fan dragging Jada, it never ends. And that's why many people now believe the so-called humiliation ritual isn't just a conspiracy, it's happening right before our eyes. They think Will has been caught in a cycle of humiliation and confession, and each one seems to break him down a little more, keeping him tied to the very system that built his fame. One person even said Will Smith being put through an obvious humiliation ritual, and as Candace puts it, he deserves pity, not persecution.
In a marriage, which is to say, not being in a real marriage at all. Will Smith today is someone who should be pitied.
And honestly, she's right. After everything Will has been through, maybe it's time we show him some compassion instead of judgment. Let me know what you think. Do you believe this was really a humiliation ritual or just Hollywood chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more stories just like this.